Hello everyone and welcome back to what is effectively game time with Kit still, but slightly new and improved. So, the joys of today are that I am here to continue whinging about Breath of the Wild while playing Breath of the Wild. Same parameters as before. Nothing has really changed, except it's a day later. Okay. So, yeah. One argument that I see a lot in favour of weapon degradation. Oh dear. How sad. One argument I often see in favour of weapon degradation is that it diversifies combat. To which I say, not really. It doesn't remove the diversity from combat, but eventually ultimately all it does is ensure that you have to constantly be switching weapons, which, if there were any tactical advantage to, say, the weapon triangle from Fire Emblem, that kind of thing, as a way of, like, you know, swords beat axes, beat spears, beat swords, for example. That kind of thing wouldn't be too bad. Okay. But I am... Oh yeah, this is one of the things that my mod does. So, in certain things, you can find in certain ores, you'll find things like iron, steel, ancient alloy, and that allows you to craft weapons, which is something that I think... you see, when Breath of the Wild was being developed, I was under the impression that that was what we were getting. You know, a game full of crafting. You also get feathers from birds, and obviously you can use flint. Melee, one-handed. So yeah, that is one thing that I think needed to be added into the game, that I think would have made it still not great, but oh fuck, still not used to these arrows, like to this bow's abilities. This recipe not only restores health, but it also keeps me warm even when travelling the snow. No, I don't need them warm doubly. Raw meat and spicy pepper. Seafood fry, so you'd need a fish. Yeah, so yeah, I do like some elements of the way this game's openness impacts it. Here we go, we're about to find a shit ton of feathers. Raw bird drumstick. Um, okay. We can then use it to get over there. So yeah, I do like the idea of cooking, but I think that crafting would have immensely improved the game. It would have made it a less egregious, the whole weapon degradation thing. But also, I think it's ridiculous that some people take issue with the idea that you have a weapon and you never have to change it. You know, people have fighting styles, and that is what permanent upgrades are for. But, you know, that's just one of the many, many things that people just, for some reason, can't accept is the case. Look, I know what I'm talking about, really. Okay, let him sit down. I've got the food that he needed. Plenty of ingredients around here, which we're going to need because, well, this is master mode. Okay. Not as hard as I remember it being to work out, but that was probably because I was being a dumbass when I was trying to do it. Okay, so the beauty of this is that it runs at 60 FPS because I'm playing it on an emulator. I do take issue with the fact that the Switch doesn't play its games at the correct frame rate, as I don't like. Yet a lot of the time, frame rate doesn't matter all that much. But you see, Nintendo games are supposed to be properly optimized for the system they're on. Okay. Okay. That's them two taken care of. So yeah, no, one of my biggest problems with Breath of the Wild was the bosses, and I will talk more in depth about bosses as we go on, I dare say, because I dare say that Thunderblight Ganon will piss me off. That's just how this goes usually. Thunderblight Ganon gets on my nerves, so then I have to talk about the entire game bosses. You know, I don't take issue with the amount of exploration, but the one thing that I took issue with in every Zelda game, in fact, with the half exception of Link to the Past, because of the Ice Rod, is that you've got all these caves, all of these beautiful places where you can go and check out, like, whatever, and there's just no effort to hide any useful item in there, because what if your player misses it? Well, to that I say, not every useful item needs to be compulsory. You know, there's plenty of examples throughout the Zelda games, including the Ice Rod, of weapons that ultimately weren't necessary, but are incredibly helpful. But, yeah. Turn around, bitch. Turn around. This is very Wind Waker, what I'm doing. Very Forbidden Fortress. And, yeah. Turn around, bitch. Yeah, turn around. Ah, shit. It's going to be completely pointless me doing this. Okay. You want to turn around again? Turn around, bitch. Turn around. Okay. Die. Ooh. You really think you can stop me, don't you? But, yeah, so... I don't think it's a problem that it can be a difficult game at times. Oh, thank God. Okay. The Flurry Rush was a great addition. I think it's wonderful that we've added a new move that when we inevitably hard U-turn back to tradition because people realised they preferred it the old way. Actually. I think that the Flurry Rush would be a good thing to put back in. You know, reinvent the old formula with new moves instead of making it not a Zelda game anymore. But ultimately, I'm not even that old, but I act like I'm really old. Like, I act like a really out of touch old person a lot of the time about franchises I love, and I'm aware of how I sound. Oh, you can't change that. And it's not that you can't change things, you know. Zelda was always a bit... To an extent, Zelda was about change, but ultimately, not to the extent of Breath of the Wild. And I think that's an important thing that needs to be remembered. Bomb arrow. Go away. Okay, so that is that camp taken care of. Now, I do think that as an element of Master, I do think that as an element of Breath of the Wild in and of itself, Master Mode, although it shouldn't have been DLC, was a pretty good mode to add into the game. As I think that it presents the player with a much bigger challenge, a lot like Hero Mode. But yeah, I don't agree with the analysis that Skyward Sword meant the Zelda formula needed to change. I agree with the analysis that Skyward Sword meant that Nintendo need to shove their motion controls up their arse. Like, the problem wasn't the Zelda formula. The problem was the Wii. The problem 99% of the time in the Wii generation was the Wii. It was never that people didn't want tradition. It was never that people weren't really into the old ways of Nintendo franchises anymore. It was always that the motion controls ruined every game they touched. And I'm not against motion controls as a concept. I think they do wonders for VR. But in games where you're bound staring at a screen, motion controls are not a good thing. And I think I've talked about this before. Definitely said it before, but I don't know if I've said it on YouTube. But I'm just really not into this whole change for change's sake thing. I know that makes me look like a right arse. Like I say, I'm aware of how I look. And I'm aware of this perception that most Breath of the Wild haters just hate change. And yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of change. Like, I think that if something is good the way it is, you should probably leave it the way it is. Like, not completely. Never hurts to adjust to things, but I've been on this monologue for about 10 minutes because of the fact that I've been focusing on the game. I'm sorry. I know that tangents aren't exactly something not expected from me, but, like, I am trying to do better. But, like, yeah, basically, long story short, I do believe that Nintendo were wrong on Breath of the Wild's design front. You know, changing the conventions of what it means to be a Zelda game was never something I wanted. It sounded interesting in, like, 2014 when it was just, like, when they just said the words, but I've come to realise that those conventions were great for the series, as they effectively meant that the series I love had some kind of identity. Okay, almost definitely. Okay, it's Boko Club. Wonderful. Okay, so yeah, I think that a large chunk of Breath of the Wild's design ideology is a little bit too rooted in modern game design as opposed to Zelda game design. Okay. Okay. Boca Club broke. Okay, so I screwed up. I was really not intending to come down here at all. But yeah, to be honest, I've not been overly struck by any of Nintendo's offerings on the Switch, aside from Metroid Dread, which I think is an incredible Metroid game, to be honest. Like, it's incredible in the way that Fusion is, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, don't get me wrong, I do think that it wouldn't kill Nintendo to bring back the openness, but in terms of the story of Fusion onwards, I think it makes a lot of sense to so much sense to kind of restrict where Samus can go in the games. Because ultimately, Samus was all-powerful in Super Metroid, and she totally, like, loses that when the X-Parasite infects her. Shit. Stick to the regular Boca Club for the time being. Okay. But yeah, I understand why people prefer the openness. I prefer the openness. Super Metroid is actually one of my top games of all time, alongside Majora's Mask. But I don't think it was wrong to take the series in that direction, because it still follows the established conventions of the series. It still follows, you know, you get you progress by getting upgrades, and you find hidden objects by mastering some upgrades. Take, for example, the Shine Spark. Oh my god, the Shine Spark. It's a nightmare, but I love it. Like, you can get some pretty difficult energy tanks that way. And yet, Super Metroid has more tricks. Like, I absolutely adore everything about Super Metroid. And yet, gamers today, as if I actually give a shit what they think, consider Super Metroid too floaty. And yeah, it's floaty, it's supposed to be. It's a space game. You know, you don't play it in space, but like, the gravity's weird there. Of course it's going to be like that. Like, and I think that a less tightly controlling Samus is actually what makes it so good. Because you don't get that layer of control. And sure, I miss the double wall jump in modern games. You know, I was really happy to find out that the double wall jump was retroactively added into Zero Mission. Whereas obviously, because the original game is an NES exclusive, it didn't even have wall jumps, let alone double. Okay. And I had stick pins. Not particularly. Okay, one there. I'm still missing one of the shrines. I'm gonna do that one while I'm at it, because I like to keep an eye on things. Yeah, actually, shrines are something I'm going to talk about in today's video, I think. I don't like shrines. Who could have guessed, huh? Oh, shield surfing is something we can definitely bring back again when we hard U-turn back to tradition. There are so many cool ideas in Breath of the Wild that just get muddied by less cool ideas, such as degrading weapons. Shit. Just stop. I need to figure out how this is going to work. Okay. Okay. There we go. It's taken me all of my weapons just to get through a single encounter, and it does raise the point of why I don't like weapon degradation. Like, I can go into people say it adds strategy. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Not to the point where it's fun. And if it's not fun, why bother? I believe that's Reggie Fils-Aimé that said that. Yeah, I don't think that... Okay, time to talk about shrines. Time to finally get around to that. Okay, here goes. I do not like shrines. Shocker. No one likes shrines, actually. Most people don't. Few too many people do. But, you know, subjectivity and all that, I suppose. The reason I don't like shrines is very, very simple. They aren't themed. They all have these really boring wall designs. I'm actually hoping that in its entirety, that motif is a thing of the past. I'm an idiot. I'm hoping that that motif is entirely a thing of the past, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what they were thinking. Okay. Because I haven't seemed to have mastered that timing yet. Well, remastered. Hoping this is going to be something actually remotely useful to my current situation. Remotely useful, yeah. But yeah, no, I think that shrines are dull. I think that having the same motif for every single like puzzle room in the game is pathetic, to be honest. And I think the fact there are 120 of the fuckers is borderline insulting, because you have to beat them all to get the final reward, and that takes too long. Like, that's fine. 100% completion bonuses don't have to be quick and easy. But do you know what would be nice? If they weren't borderline impossible. And yeah, it looks like I'm whinging just to whinge. And yeah, sure, fine. I don't like Breath of the Wild, and I never did. Well, no, that's not true. I used to, a long time ago. But I haven't done anything wrong by not liking Breath of the Wild. First of all. So, if Nintendo fans would like to stop acting like I have just shat on their doorstep, that would be incredibly kind, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm actively kind of sick of the way that Breath of the Wild haters, I use the term incredibly loosely, as most people aren't haters, they just don't like the shitty game. I'm sorry, that was me. Shocker! That wasn't what I intended to do, in the slightest. Yeah, no, I think that I've been doing a terrible job at explaining how I feel about the game today. I'm sorry. I really should have thought this out better. I need to start mapping out points I'm going to talk about before I actually start filming. Like I say, I'm never going to like Breath of the Wild, I don't think. I think I've given it more than its fair shot. I'm only doing this now because I'm being fair on camera. But ultimately, okay. Yeah, okay. Soldier's bow, that's good. So yeah, no, I don't... I think that there's a huge problem with Nintendo fans and criticism of the Switch in general. How do I know? Okay, I just had to try then. I'm gonna have to do that all over again now, aren't I? Shit. I know, but like... You fancy getting up there? No? Okay. I was just curious to see if I could get away with it. I can't, as it happens. But yeah, no, so... I don't like... Okay, so... Here's one of the most controversial things, apparently. I assume that this wouldn't be controversial, given that... Well, everyone's always loved Zelda music the way it was. But I don't like the music in in Breath of the Wild. I don't ever like ambient music in my shit. Like, I don't. But I especially don't like when it was proper orchestral scores, and then suddenly to appease a... To be fair, it isn't even appeasement. That's attributing a motive that wasn't really there. Okay. Fuck! You see, this is what I don't like. I shouldn't open my inventory to find no weapon. Like, this isn't just about being shit at the game. Like, don't get me wrong, I am out of practice. Like, abysmally so. To the point where I could reasonably be considered shit. But, like... Bear in mind that I used to be incredible. And I still didn't like the game. Like, I became shit after deciding I disliked it. And to be fair, I was already disappointed in the game on day one. Like, it's just that I convinced myself that things were better this way because that's what Nintendo said. Come on. Fuck you! Like, seriously. Ugh. Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of... I'm not a fan of combat in this game. I just think that there are a couple of cool ideas. Like, things flow together quite nicely. Really? You bastards. I like the AI of the bokoblins. They're little shits. And I think that's a really good idea for them. What the hell do you think? I lost the sword. Which was the whole reason I was doing this, but I'm not resetting because I don't really fancy dying 2 more times. Okay. But yeah, no. We will be talking about Age of Calamity at some point. I don't know when. But we will be talking about the abysmal story of that game. Because that was something that I really, really took issue with. You know, I've taken issue with things before, like... I take issue with the idea that Zelda needed to change. I take issue with the idea that... Breath of the Wild is even a good Zelda game, let alone the best Zelda game ever made. But I really take issue with the idea that the Age of Calamity was even remotely good as a story, not as a game. I think as a Warriors game, it's perfectly good. Like, but I think as a story, it's a disgrace. Like, my problem is, like, it's once again the silly idea that things needed to be even remotely altered. Like, the story of Age of Calamity isn't very good. And in short, I don't like that it became a time travel story when they advertised it as a straight prequel. That to me felt a little bit like false advertising. And I know that that's not a common opinion. Well, no it is, but like... it's very heavily debated because Nintendo fans are famous for taking issue with any and all criticism. I was the same. You know, I went through this whole phase in my teens, in my early teens, of aggressively defending the Wii U and anything else Nintendo. Why? Because, well, the Wii U was failing, the Wii U was where Zelda was going to be, and therefore the Wii U was the system I was loyal to. And it was not good. Like, it wasn't a good look for me. In fact, it was incredibly pathetic. Like, you wouldn't know it now because I do nothing but shit on Nintendo. Like, it's not that I hate them, not as such. Like, I think their IP are brilliant. I think the company requires improvement. Immense improvement. To the point where they'd be borderline unrecognisable if they followed through. Come on, turn around, you little bitch. Which is what I'm going to be naming this video. Maybe. We'll see. Well, you've already seen. So tedious. Like, combat just feels a little bit too slow, yeah. Not quite Dark Souls level of cool. Oh, fuck off, man. Hang on. Just have to sort something. Okay. Gotta keep moving. So, as of filming this and hopefully releasing, depending on how much like time I allow in between this and having to turn off my computer, because now I only have the one Ethernet port, and so I have to decide between between what I'm going to interact with. Okay, that's one down. I want that reward, okay? I grow tired of this. Told you. I grow tired of this. I'm gonna fucking lose my shit. Oh shit. Come on. Okay. That's that bastard out of the way. I do like that things like magnesis can allow you to creatively eliminate your enemies for the glory of the Santaran Empire. But yeah, I don't like Breath of the Wild in the slightest. And to be honest, despite the fact that I think Master Mode was a pretty genius idea in a way, what I don't think is that it's a very fun way to play the game. The only reason I'm doing it is because every Master Mode playthrough I start, I end up quitting, and it's not because of anything about the game itself, to be honest. It's because I just stop playing one day, and then I never pick it back up. You know, the playthrough I had on Switch, I will never ever pick up again because I can't play Breath of the Wild in 30 FPS anymore. Because I have broken my brain. It would always feel too slow. I think that I don't think the game's reputation is deserved in the slightest. I need to find that final. I need to find that damn fourth shrine. Okay. We're at 48 minutes already and I have barely said anything of value. This was an entirely pointless episode. Okay. Seared steak for me. You get thrown off a ledge. I don't like this game. Every time I think I'm getting somewhere. To be fair, that time it really was just kind of my fault. I tell you what I'll do. I will sneak over to the camp. Nick the weapon. I tell you what, the Majora's Mask, the item, the Majora's Mask, really helps in situations like this. Seared steak. Okay. And then I'm gonna need your help. Whoa. Not gonna happen. But yeah, it's Bad Batch Day tomorrow, which, well, that's always a good thing. I met one of my favourite people through the Bad Batch. And she is wonderful. Ugh, I shouldn't be getting hit by those. Why am I being a fucking imbecile? This game is so shit. Like, it actually infuriates me at times. It's, like I say, it's nothing to do with being bad at it. Like, I'm bad at lots of games. I don't think they're all shit. But Breath of the Wild has a severe fucking problem with being infuriating. Like, you can be difficult without being fucking infuriating, as any good game knows. In fact, you can be infuriating without being shit. But I'm getting to the point where, like, I'm just being mean about the game, which means it's probably a point to start drawing to a close, because otherwise these videos are completely unwatchable to the naked eye. Well, not the naked eye. I don't know what I'm supposed to be fucking saying here. These videos end up being difficult for new people to watch, which is what I was intending for, despite the fact that I've suckered them in by saying that their golden child isn't as good as people say it is. Which, you know, it really fucking sucks when I'm always on the opposite end of a debate to the rest of the community. I'm actually fucking insufferable. What is wrong with me? Like, oh my god, that was stupid of me. But, yeah, like I say, I don't know how to pinpoint my specific issue with the game. I just think that making Zelda a generic open world game was a terrible move for the series. And I think that we should stray away from open world games for as long as possible now. Right. I don't like them. I think they're incredibly boring. Like, and it's not just, to be fair, it's not just the fact that they're open world. Like, it's fine, but the open world formula, including the way the story is formatted, can be completely done away with. You know, specifically to Ubisoft towers, they can be completely thrown out, to be honest. Like, Sonic Frontiers has a decent way of doing it. You have to complete challenges to show more of your map. But even then, it's the same old shit, except not completely fucking brain dead. And by the way, climbing a tower doesn't count as a task. Like, don't get me wrong, Sonic Frontiers doesn't have particularly difficult challenges, but it doesn't have... Sorry. It doesn't have the same level of stupid that, well, seemingly every other open world game has. Like, even the most creative of them, which is Spider-Man 2018, still only has you tune a radio signal. And even then, that's less for... Actually, no, it does show the map. I'm being a dumb fuck. Don't worry. But yeah, if you couldn't tell, I'm having a decent time with Sonic Frontiers, and that's because it's the only series I think needed an open world reinvention. And I'm repeating myself a lot in this video. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Well, I do. I mean, I'm insufferable and I'm tired. The way that this usually works is when I'm tired, if it enters my brain, it leaves my mouth. Oh, fuck. Okay. That's then dealt with. Now, Stasis is another incredible item. Like, another incredible rune. Like, we're going to finish off with getting through the Stasis trial, I think, because we're already at 57 minutes. I think it has some pretty decent uses. I also like the Master Cycle Zero, to be fair. But that's more because it's, I finished this game, I might as well just fucking ride around Hyrule. But, yeah. I think that the possibilities are brilliant in terms of where these runes can be taken. But I don't think Breath of the Wild ever taps its fucking potential properly. Like, I don't think Breath of the Wild is the worst game of all time, obviously. That would have to go to a game that doesn't even work. Okay. There was absolutely no need for me to waste 2 Goblin hands on that. What's that? The other thing is, I don't mind the tests of strength, but there are probably too many of them. With little to no variety, and this is kind of where my issue with Guardians comes in. It's an excuse to lazily design a few of the weaker enemies. I don't know. I don't like the idea of trials being the way this happens. Yeah, mate, I don't care. Piss off. But yeah, no, thing is, the story opens up promising. I should probably return to the Shrine of Resurrection if I want to do this. I don't like the memory storyline. I think it is a cop-out. I think it is an excuse to lazily structure your story. I think the story should have a beginning, middle and end, even if that end isn't a definitive end. Like, you know, cliffhanger's still an end to that. particular section of the story, but sections of stories should have that sort of thing too. But like, Breath of the Wild is a game that has a beginning and it has an end, but the middle is a blurred jumble of memories, and I don't think that's good. I think that is the worst thing about the game by far. Like, its story is by far the worst thing in the game. And considering I don't like anything really about the game, like, I think the game is overwhelmingly shit, like, as a Zelda game. I think it fails in being a Zelda game, but like, I could at least be fair to it and say it is a relatively okay game, completely separate of the Zelda license. Now, don't get me wrong, I am fully of the opinion that in order for a part of a franchise to be successful, it needs to fit in with that established franchise. Franchises have identities, and that is something that you need to follow up with. Like, that's just how I feel. Like, I don't come to Zelda for Mario. We aren't talking about Link's Awakening right now. That's not even what I mean. But like, I don't come to Zelda to jump on Goombas. Again, ironically, that is a thing you can do in Link's Awakening. But I come to Zelda because, as a series, it has its own identity, you know. You adventure, you look through caves, you find an item that corresponds to the dungeon that you're in, you find a map and compass, which, by the way, I wouldn't mind if they did away with maps and compasses in favour of the terminal kind of base thing. You know, after your first playthrough, it's completely redundant picking them up anyway. I only do it because I don't like leaving chests unopened. But I don't think that... I think that if they were going to do Breath of the Wild, they should have been committed to being a Zelda game first and foremost, and not just a game. And of course, this is the one that got popular. Like, it's so wrong that they finally did a Zelda game that got widespread appeal. But I know exactly why it got that widespread appeal, and to be completely honest, I don't agree with it. Or to put it in the words of a certain gentleman, I don't agree with that in the workplace. I don't know why I felt the need to make that joke. It just kind of snuck up on me. But yeah, no, I don't think I'll ever like Breath of the Wild again. I think, first of all, this is an incredibly beautiful way of looking at this. Like, that light shining over the Master Sword was beautiful. Like I say, I'm not gonna pick up that Master Sword until I pick up the other Master Sword, because I don't think that that's a clever thing to do. To be honest, I'll probably never, ever pick it up. It'd be way too easy to just... You know, it'd be way too easy to do it like that. Like, to just pick those items up, and use them for the whole game. But then I'd have people claiming, you cheated. Shut the fuck up. I don't really give a shit, so... But, out of respect to you, faithful viewer, I won't be cheating in this playthrough. At the moment. Piss me off enough and watch what happens. Right, here he is.
Well done there, young one. Now then, the time has come.
Like I say, I love that they added voice acting in this game.
I was King Rome Ospharamus Hyrule. I was the last leader of Hyrule,
For now.
which no longer exists.
Hyrule still exists, it's just a little bit fucked.
The Great Calamity was merciless. It devastated everything in its path. Look, a century ago.
You see, this is why I wanted to play Age of Calamity so much, because I wanted to see it happen.
Here I have remained in spirit form.
But they kind of fucked it.
It wise to overwhelm you while your memory was still fragile. So rather than that, I thought it best to assume a temporary form. Forgive me.
I will say, the opening
I think you
portion of this game is more insufferable than the rest of it, because of the lack of paraglider. But I still don't like the rest of the game, just so we're clear on where I stand.
The Demon King was born into this kingdom, but his transformation into malice created the horror you see now. Stories of Ganon were passed from generation to generation in the form of legends and fairy tales. But there was also prophecy.
I am looking forward to Tears of the Kingdom for some reason. I don't trust it to be good, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a shockingly bad Zelda game, to be honest. But I have a glutton for pain. Like, I absolutely love being hurt. I don't love it, to be fair. I just can't help but get myself hurt by hoping for better.
An army of mechanical soldiers who fought autonomously. This coincided with ancient legends, oft repeated throughout our land.
See, this is a very interesting setup. I just don't think that the first fully open world Zelda game should have been post-apocalyptic. You know, take for example Ocarina of Time. It's a small world, but it feels at least vaguely alive. You know, you enter the market and it's a bustling castle town. You know, it's a very beautiful place. With dialogue in the background. Not discernible dialogue, it's like a mumbling. It's very unnerving if you take the music out of there. Which you can do by accident quite a bit.
The princess, her appointed knight, and the rest of the champions were on the brink of sealing away Ganon. But nay. Ganon was cunning, and he responded with a plan beyond our imagining.
Here we go.
He appeared from deep below Hyrule Castle.
I do think this is the worst 3D Zelda. By far. I'm sorry, I do. And I'm never going to not think that, I think it's worse than Skyward Sword, because Skyward Sword at least tries to be a Zelda. And actually, if you cut out the Imprisoned, then it's not so bad. The Imprisoned really drags that game down. Because why the hell would I ever want to fight that fucking bastard?
However, princess survived to face Ganon alone.
I actually think this would make for a good final boss
Link, you are our final hope.
for Asia Calamity.
The fate of
You know.
Hyrule rests with you.
Dramatise the fight between Zelda and Calamity Ganon a little bit.
That princess was my own daughter, my dear Zelda,
But it wasn't to be.
and the courageous
Yeah,
knight
maybe have
who protected her right
the
up to
army
very
be
end.
light mages versus
That night,
Malice
none other than
constructs or something.
you fought valiantly when your fate took an unfortunate turn. You were taken to the Shrine of Resurrection. Here you now stand, revitalized 100 years later. The words of guidance you have been hearing since your awakening are from Princess Zelda herself. Even now, as she works to restrain Ganon from within Hyrule Castle.
I remember how
she
hyped I
calls
was
out
when the
your
trailer
name.
for this came out.
However, my daughter's power will soon be exhausted.
Like the big story trailer at the Nintendo presentation, at the Nintendo Switch presentation in 2017. I'd woke up in the middle of the night for some... Actually, no, I know exactly why. It's because I had notifications on Twitter for Nintendo of America. And my phone vibrated 50 times or so. So I eventually woke up, rubbed my eyes, and I watched that trailer, and I was impressed by what I saw. I'll give you that. I was incredibly impressed by what I saw.
I believe it would be quite reckless for you to head directly to the castle at this point.
It is possible, but not really.
That you make your way east out to one of the villages in the wilderness. Follow the road out to Kakariko village.
I will say we will be cutting out a minor part of the game because I'm playing as Linkle. That wasn't the intention.
Consult the map on your Sheikah slate
But,
for the precise location of Kakariko
you know,
village.
as funny as that
Make your
was,
way past the twin summits of the
Eh.
ruling peaks. Follow the road as it proceeds north.
paraglider. Okay, Linkle, you must save Hyrule. So, open his chest, find a bow in there. We're gonna need to get rid of at least one other bow. CK Impa. Okay. I think this would be a great place to end. Cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. I think this would be a great place to end. Because, well... yeah, I can't think of any better place to end. Honestly, I've pretty much assured that I'm going to be hated for the rest of my life. So... oh, God. Okay, before we do... you know, considering I'm trying to grow my brand, like... it's probably a form of suicide to try and... well, to try and... tackle why I don't like Breath of the Wild now. Like... it was certainly ill-advised. Okay, we are going to take them down. Okay. I want that chest, so... Nice traveler's spear. Okay, so... that chest has been unlocked, so... a traveler's sword is always a good thing to have. Okay. No signs of the usual. You know what? Wait for it. Okay. Open the chest. Broadsword. Okay. So we are going to take a leap off of one of these destroyed pillars. And this is where I will leave you for today. As always, I hope if you've enjoyed watching me ramble as I seemingly have absolutely zero idea what I'm supposed to be doing here, then you can subscribe for more aimless rambling while I try to play video games. And we can finish this video off by helping people. Okay. Where's the other one? Oh shit, he's got a halberd. Okay. Now we're having the halberd. And the Boko Club. And that can be where we leave it. Sorry, I know that I've rambled for an hour and 20 minutes, but I've got to go. Goodbye.